Hello everyone. In the last video, we saw how we can design our database in ASP.NET Core. In this video, we will create a program to seed our database with some sample data. Seeding the database is very important in software development. We do not want to enter the data manually every time we make some changes to our schema. So I will create a program, and in this program, we will seed our database at the time of starting the application. So I will create one file in the root folder, and I will name this file as database c.cs, and I will use dot models namespace, and the namespace will be invoice app. And here I will create a class, a static one, database seed, and in this class I will create the method initializer. This method will also be static, and it will take one input argument, and that input argument will be an object of invoice app context, and I will name this object as context. Further in this code, we will use this context object to interact with our database. So first table I will seed is quantity types. If we go to the models, then we can see that the quantity types takes two inputs. First one is quantity name and second one is quantity type. So I will create one array of objects, quantity type, that will be an array of type of quantity type. And this array will have multiple objects of quantity type. So new quantity type, and the first one will be quantity name. So our first quantity is kilogram. Sorry, I will say unit. First one is unit, and quantity code will be U. And the next one will be kilogram, kg, and then liter, it's L. Next, I will type a loop for each loop, so that each element of this array will be inserted into our database. For quantity type A in quantity types context dot, our table name is quantity types, and then add, and then this variable A, object A, will be added in the database. Similarly, I will seed my customer table. What else we require in this model? We require mobile number and email. So mobile number, random digits, and email test@test.com. Next, I will seed product table. But before we see the data in product table, we need to save changes first. Otherwise, we will run into foreign key exception because we need to provide quantity type ID here. And if we do not save the previous seed, then the system will not find the quantity type ID that we provide here to check the references, and it will be a violation of foreign key constraint. So we need to type this code context dot save changes, and here it will save changes into the database. Next is product, new product, new product, product name, milk, you can say egg, product name, description, you can remove required from description. Okay, so leave it right now. Product code, price, quantity type ID. Okay, so next is description, that will be some x, product code, price, and quantity type ID, that will be units, so 1. Next is milk, quantity 3, and sugar, 2. Then again this for loop. Similarly, I will seed my invoice table. So in invoice, we require customer ID, issued or not, and date. So yeah, invoices new invoice. Okay, so I will only add one invoice, so I can do this directly. So context dot invoices dot add, and here I will new invoice, and the first one is customer ID. So customer ID, that will be 1. Next is issued or not, so I will say true. Date time dot, I think the formula is parse, and here I will provide date. Okay, or we can use the now function. Now it's not a function, it is a, a parameter, and the okay, that's all. And then we need to save the changes, so we can copy this one here. So that's how we can add the data directly. Next will be invoice products. So where invoice products new invoice product product. For here first one is invoice ID, product ID, then quantity. Invoice ID, that will be 1 because we have only one invoice. Product ID, we can say 1, and quantity, so we will have, let's say, 10 quantity, and product ID 2 will have 1 quantity, and last one, product ID 3, can have 2, and then we need a for loop to add these in this product. Products, and then save changes. So our seed is complete, but this program will run every time we start the application, so we need to add a check to see that if the data is already seeded, then it should not seed anymore. So here in the top of the code we will write one code: if context dot quantity types dot any, then return. So the code will break here. So now I have created the seed program. Next we need to make sure that this program runs at the time of starting the application. So I will open my program.cs file, and I will place the code here before this app.run. So here we will create a scope, scope, and this scope will be apps services dot create scope. This scope will destroy after this code. So here we will have an object of services scope dot service provider, and in these services we will have one context, database context services dot, we need the required service and of type invoice a context, and then we need to check if our database has been created or not. So database dot ensure it is created, and then next database seed our class dot initializer, and we need to pass one input argument of invoice app context type. So our code is complete. So let's try to run this code here. .NET watch. Let's see if any error occurs. No version defined. We need to check our database. It is taking some time. So let's see first table quantity types. Data has been added, and in products. Okay. Invoice products and customers. So data has been seeded successfully. So this is all for this video. In the next video we will create some web APIs that you can see on this page. You will see the codes on this page. So this is all for this video. Thank you.